teacher at a Washington State middle school is reportedly being forced to take down a thin blue line flag in her classroom. She says it was meant to support the police, including her brother, but instead the school district is calling it a potentially disruptive political symbol. Let's begin tonight's lightning round right there with Seattle-based talk radio host Jason Reyes. Good to have you, Jason.
Thanks so much.
Now, you actually talked to the brother, this former police officer. She had started out with a sticker on her laptop. There was sort of a blow up over that. That blew over. She puts up the flag in her classroom. It sparks up again. Chris Sutherland, the brother, told her it's controversial to have the flag up, that it makes kids and staff feel unsafe. There's also, she was telling me, BLM stuff hanging on the walls, which she was told is okay. Just for whatever reason, just the thin blue line flag cannot be hung up there. What can you tell us about this story?
Well, I mean, this is one of the more straightforward ones. You had folks who were claiming that somehow a thin blue line flag, a pro-police flag, would make people uncomfortable. They called it a political symbol, which is, of course, nonsense. It's not political to support police officers, although I suppose for some it could be, given the fact that politically speaking, so many people are going after cops. And I think that that is really what's behind this, the anti-police sentiment. There's no reason why you could be allowed to put up a BLM flag or an LGBTQ pride flag, which are up in the school, and yet a thin blue line flag goes too far. That doesn't make any sense. And when I asked the district directly why the disparate treatment in these three symbols, they don't answer. So that's usually a sign that they don't have an answer.
Yeah, if they're going to call one of those political, I think people could make arguments that all three of them were political. So please keep us updated on that story as it continues to play out. Meantime, I want to talk about this new study that is about students and free speech. A College Pulse survey talks about this, about having opposing viewpoints on campus and whether you're okay with it. 66% said that they thought it was acceptable to shout down a speaker they don't agree with. 23% thought it was acceptable to use violence against a speaker you don't agree with. And some 83% said that they self-censor their viewpoints because they're worried about being shunned or canceled because of what they think. What do you think of the numbers?
I mean, I think that's all terrifying. Greg Lukianoff is the president of the Foundation for Individual Rights in Education. I did some work with them back when I was actually in college. And back in 2004, he gave me a quote that has stuck with me to this day. And I think it works here perfectly. Imagine the power to censor in the hands of your worst enemy. Right now, you've got progressive professors and, frankly, high school teachers as well, teaching kids that words are literal violence and that anyone who disagrees with them isn't just wrong, but they're a danger, they're fascists. And so when you demean political opponents that way, I think you're more likely to want to try to silence them or bully them and sometimes, use violence against them. You've been taught that they're a threat. And I think that, number one, that does a tremendous disservice to college life. You're supposed to be challenged. You're supposed to hear ideas that you disagree with.
Right.
But number two, it's creating an environment where I think we might see mutually assured destruction, where the only way to stop conservatives from being drowned out or bullied or attacked is to do the same to liberals. I hope we don't get to that point. But right now, the progressives have power on campus, and we're seeing how they're abusing it.
Yeah, and both sides have to be willing to give space to those opposing viewpoints they don't agree with. If they're going to be fair and ask for it themselves, I would hope they would extend it to those they don't agree with. I mean, the idea that these kids think the First Amendment is a bad thing is sort of terrifying. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about Princess and Prince Harry and Meghan. They went to this big global thing in Central Park, a big concert. There was all kinds of talk about saving the planet and doing all kinds of things, getting rid of COVID. I mean, things that are noble aims. But Piers Morgan has this headline in the Daily Mail today: we need an urgent vaccine to save us from the Duke and Duchess of polluting hypocrisy, because apparently they went there. They talked about new eco laws to have U.S. emissions by 2030. But they were apparently flying back home on a private jet. I'm assuming that's how they got there. We don't know. Would have produced around 17 tons of carbon emissions for the flight, at least the way we know that they went home. What do you think of it?
I think this is about the virtue signal, the social currency that someone gets when they declare themselves heroes for standing up for the environment. But it's not about their habits. It's about your habits, my habits. You see, they need air conditioning. they need private jets. They're the messenger of change. And so because they're inspirational, they don't really have to abide by the same rules as you and I. And I think that that's really what this is about. This is about wanting to get extra credit for holding a position that they believe to be evolved. And it's not me saying the environment isn't important. I think it's incredibly important. I serve on an environmental board. But the difference is some people do things because they care about the environment. Others do it because they care about themselves, that they can post something on Twitter or on Instagram with the hashtag, I'm a hero. And the truth of the matter is they do a tremendous disservice to this cause, because when you're taking a position, and same with COVID, when people take positions, you've got to wear a mask all the time or you're going to die, and then you don't wear a mask, well, people are starting to wonder whether or not they should actually listen to you to begin with.
Yeah,
so
or whether you
that's
believe
what they're going to think here.
That you're espousing.
Yeah.
That's true. All right, Jason Moran, it's always great to see you. Have a wonderful week out there in the good
Thank
old
you.
interesting
Appreciate
Northwest. Well, the president